I'm Chris.
And I'm Noel.
And welcome to MFECast. Today we're going to be talking about the Xtenda-Cam HD zoom, and Noel is going to give you some situations, ideal situations where you can utilize that system.
The system was designed but not limited to highways, bridge structures, security surveillance, law enforcement, military, mines, refineries, power generation facilities.
So the motorized tilting mechanism on the camera itself goes 320 degrees. So you can either come up or you can go down, or I guess you can consider that left or right, but either way,
right.
It's going to come back and almost face you, almost be 360 degrees. In any case, I don't feel like if you were utilizing this camera in a straight up position that you would want it going 360 degrees back, where you'd be able to, you'd just be recording yourself essentially.
Good for selfies.
So the submersible camera head is IP67 rating, and that means it will go 3 feet deep for up to 30 minutes. This isn't the type of camera that you would necessarily want to use underwater, but if there was a situation where the camera itself was dropped into water, or if there was a situation where there's a lot of rain and moisture, you know that this camera is going to be okay.
Yeah, it'll hold up for sure.
So it does have a 120 times zoom ratio. It's got a 10 time optical and a 12 times digital. It works best at 25 feet. Noel and I noticed that we did a little bit of a test on this. Noel will tell you a little bit about it.
What we did is we took a panometric standardized box and we placed it on our Toyota Tacoma in the back, and we placed the camera about 25 feet away from the actual Tacoma, and then we zoomed in on it. At about 20 feet, I would say, it stops going from 10 optical into 12 digital, and that's where you'll get a little bit of pixelation. Though you can read panometric on the box clearly, and the lettering is about 1/4 of an inch. So
it's very small.
So you get a really good visual with this camera.
Oh yeah. So if you're utilizing this camera, it's when we're talking about that lettering being tiny, we're basically telling you that within 20 feet, if you need to see all the fine points, you're going to be able to see that. Beyond the 20 feet, or excuse me, 20 to 25 feet, you're going to see details, but it won't be quite the fine details. So you'd still be able to find the, or use this to find degradation, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to gauge it out beyond the 25 feet.
Yeah, it's like going from 4K to 1080p. Within those certain parameter, you start seeing the pixelation where 4K is just clear.
Yeah. Only that's a 1080p camera, HD resolution on this one, but that's that's about the same. I mean, it would knock down to under high resolution.
Right.
But auxiliary lighting is provided by an LED light ring that reaches targets up to 25 feet away. So the LED lights have 8 adjustments on them.
Yes.
And I think that I like that design because you can adjust out the brightness depending on the reflection of whatever the object is that you're inspecting.
Right.
Another thing with that, I noticed that it reaches targets up to 25 feet away. I think they did that, the manufacturer did that, because they know that beyond the 20-25 feet, you're not going to see all the fine points anyway. So you're within that first 10 times optical zoom.
Right, so they match the lighting to the most optical point in their camera view.
Yeah.
Which is perfect, you know, if you think about it.
And it's got an autofocus. That's nice too.
Yes.
So like we said, it's the high definition resolution is 1080p. It records MPG. It takes JPG still images. So this is really easy for you to share on multiple platforms. The photos can also be stored on an SD card as well. And the camera has an audio video output.
Yes.
On the stick itself. Noel will talk to you a little bit about the controls on that Xtenda-Cam.
The controls are really simple. You have a 6-button control system. So you're looking at your first 2 buttons are your zoom in, zoom out. Your next two buttons will be your lighting, and then the last two buttons are the up and down for your camera. You also use the top two buttons as your menu, and the next two buttons as your selection guides, and then the last two buttons will either be your enter for selection or exit. Really simple use, not very complicated at all. It's pretty much point and click and go.
And you were saying you don't want to get the controls in the water. It's specifically the camera head.
Yeah, specifically this IP rating is for the camera head alone. You do not want to get your controls in the water at all. It will short out the system. The battery is contained in the rear of the pole itself. So imagine, here I go, I drop the back of my pole into the water. Now you've got water saturating into your battery system, into your controls, and it will go out. So just remember, it's only for the camera itself.
It telescopes out to 16 feet 4 inches. I noticed that you were handling the camera pretty well, Noel. It didn't seem like it was real heavy to you. You were able to easily move it. It looked almost as if you were holding a fishing pole.
You know, the great thing about it is it feels like you're holding a fishing pole. All the weight is to the rear. Like I was saying, all your controls, your battery, it's to the rear of the pole. So all the weight is at the back. So the front of the camera is really light. It feels like 5 pounds in your hand when you're moving it up and down.
And this is a completely mobile system. So there's batteries that are on here that last for quite a few hours.
Yes.
I would recommend if you were using the camera for a job that's going to take 8 hours in a day, that maybe after 4 hours of your first shift before lunch, I would go ahead and turn that off, recharge those batteries. Should take only 45 minutes to an hour. And then you can use that camera for the rest of the day.
Yes.
The shipping case itself weighs the entire product with the case weighs 40 pounds. So when you actually read about the product, 40 pounds seems like a lot. It makes you think that the pole is going to weigh a lot, but it's actually in a very sturdy metal case.
Yes.
And it's in that case designed basically, I mean, you don't want this camera banging around all over the place. So they make sure that this product is not going to be damaged on shipment.
Right. If you slide into the back of your truck and happen to be driving around on a bumpy road, the internal foam inside the case is really strong, really gives way to the camera, but yet still holds its density.
So I wouldn't necessarily, if I was going to be going up a bunch of scaffolding, if I was going to be going upstairs, I personally would separate the pole from the case itself.
Definitely.
And I would feel confident because it's not that heavy, because it's not, obviously, this extends out to 16 feet, but it's not 16 feet before you extend it out. So it should be easy to carry around.
Yeah, we do have it displayed behind us here. It's not that very long. The only thing we didn't place was the battery on the back of it. So you can see it's like carrying around a walking stick.
And it does have a 3.5-inch LCD monitor that's on that pole as well.
Yes.
So if you're interested in the Xtenda-Cam, give MFE Rentals a call. We are local in Benicia. We have offices all over. You can go to our website at mferentals.com, and we're going to present to you a short video. Thank you.